Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today's video is about making a dress inspired by the movie Enchanted. To be more specific, inspired by Gisele's blue curtain dress from the movie. This project is rather special. It's my birthday project. Birthday because I'm using the fabrics my friends gave me for my 21st birthday. If you so, you'll understand what I mean. The type of friends who give you fabrics are the best type of friends. So here's a big shout out to my friends Ariel, April, and Ed for making this project come true. This is also something I have secretly wanted for many years. When I was a child, I was crazy about the movie Enchanted. I liked everything about it, the costume and the music, the makeup and the hairstyles. It was a really great movie, and I really enjoyed the process of trying to work out how this dress was constructed and then making it for myself and changing a few elements to suit my personal style better. I had great fun making it, and it was a really cool process. So if you are interested to see how I made this Gisele inspired dress, just keep on watching. This is Gisele, and this is the inspiration of this project. So let's have a look and try to work out the structure. The whole thing is kind of like a Regency inspired fantasy dress. So I'm not really worried about pattern. I have done some Regency inspired dresses before, so I'm pretty confident that I can work it out. The one thing that really annoys me is I think she has a corset underneath. If you look closely here, you can see this tiny bit of shadow, and I don't think it's caused by her natural body, because it's really similar to the shape of corset, and I don't think humans have a bone right here, right? Anyway, I'm pretty sure there's a corset underneath, because that would also explain how this dress could even stay on her body. Usually, if a garment stays on you, that's probably because the garment has shoulder straps, and therefore it's able to wrap around your body like this and hang the entire garment onto your body in a very secure way. But if you look at But if you look at these sleeves, they're pretty much useless. They sit on the edge of her shoulders, and they're way too puffy to provide any sort of very stable support. So I think all the support would be on the waist and her bust, and there must be a corset underneath. However, on my dress, I'm not going to put a corset because I want my dress to be like wearable in daily life, and I don't really want a corset because I want this thing to be machine washable. I don't want to wash it by hand every time I wear it. So no corset. Then the only thing I can do is probably putting some of the support onto the shoulders. That means putting shoulder straps. I think if I plan it well and do it in a very clever way, I may be able to conceal my straps with my sleeves. So the results would still look very similar to this one, but without a corset. So I think I'm going to try and achieve that. On the lower body, nothing really special. It clinches in on her waist and then flares out at her hips and then flares out even more to create a bunch of volume on her hem. I'm definitely gonna cut down on the volume. I don't think I have enough fabric to achieve this much. Also, I don't really need a bunch of volume for a day dress, so I'm going to cut it down. Other than that, I don't think there's anything special. Now that I have all the information I need, I can go pattern drafting. Good morning, it's the second day. Last night I have already drafted and cut out every single pattern piece. And here are all of the pattern pieces. So this is the upper body. For the front, I just divided it into two parts. So I distributed some volume here and here. So when you combine them together, hopefully we can achieve a cup-like structure that resembles Gisele's dress. On the back, I simply separated the whole thing into two halves. So this is the center bag. So on the entire bag, there should be like 4 pieces. On the original one, I think they had like 6 pieces. But I am guessing they mainly do that so that they can add as much volume as possible on the hem. And I decided to reduce the volume. So I think 4 pieces in total for the entire bag would be enough for me. And these are the dress pieces. So this is, the waist is here and the hip is here and it flares out on the hem. I actually drafted these white parts simply by taking the brown parts and just kind of elongate them and fit my own measurement at the waist and then flare out at the hip and then flare out even more. So that was quick and easy, really. I think the entire pattern drafting took me about maximum 1.5 hours and I was done. So what I'm going to do now is that I will make a mock-up. This is not something I usually do. I am quite confident about my pattern drafting skills, and usually I would directly go into making without any mock-ups because I know my body really well. I make a lot of clothes for myself, so I know what would fit me and what wouldn't. But this time, since I'm using the fabric my friends gave me for my birthday, I can't afford to screw it up. So I'll have to do a mock-up first and then do it on the actual fabric. So now let's get to cutting the muslin and see how this pattern comes out. The mock-up is done and it came out quite well. I've tried it on. Just a few more alterations I want to make. So the first one is on the sleeves. I have made the sleeves way too tight and way too small. So I think I do need to start from scratch and draft a new set of sleeves. The second thing is the back. The back came out a bit too big. But instead of shrinking the pattern tighter, I have decided to add a bit of shirring. Because a tiny bit of stretch and ease on the back would actually help with the movement of your arms. When you put your arms forward, your back actually kind of expand a tiny bit as well. So this is good for the movement and I'm going to keep it. The last thing is the front of the dress. On the original, there were no darts and there were no extra seams. I did the same on my mock-up, but when I was wearing it, I got this sort of like tiny puckering on my stomach. I think it's because I cut it on the straight grain and the fabric was a bit too rigid. So on the actual dress, I'm just going to cut it on the bias to solve this puckering problem. These are all the alterations I need to make, so I will work on them tonight, and I think I will be able to work on the actual dress tomorrow morning. These are the fabric I'll be using for this project. My friends gave them to me for my 21st birthday, so they're actually birthday gifts. And that's why this project is a birthday project. They're really nice fabric. These two are cotton georgettes, and this one I think is linen and tencel blend. They're all very comfortable, and as you can see, the colors are very, very pretty. I think I'll have a great fun making this dress. So let's go straight into cutting. So, it's been 3 days since I last talked on camera, and in terms of progress, I have made some progress. So let me just show you what I have done. As you can see here, I have sewn all the cotton georgette panels together, and I have put the 2 layers into one giant layer. So what I'm going to do now is that I will put this onto the top, and the top also has been attached to the outer skirt layer, and on the front you can see I have, how can I, okay, on the front, as you can see, I have hand stitched the hem or edge. What is this called exactly? It's not exactly a hem. Okay, the front edge, I have done some hand stitching, and it's just very, very nice and invisible. It could have been more invisible if I bothered to get an actually matching thread, but oh well. So yes, this is what I'm going to do, and I think I will show you what it looks like after I attach this boy to this boy. Because by then I think it will have the basic shape of the entire dress. I am trying on the dress right now, and you need to see this. Look at the way this georgette flows. I have attached the cotton georgette to the pink layer, and as you can see, it already kind of looks like Gisele's dress already, so everything is coming together quite nicely, and I'm very excited about it. What I'm gonna do tonight is that I think I will trim off the armholes nicely and level up the bottom hem, because the bottom hem is kind of hanging at a weird angle right here because I cut the front piece on the bias. So I do need to give it at least a few hours to stretch out, and then I can level it up. On the back, if you look closely at here, you can see those tiny white marks. Those are the basting stitch I did on the chiffon, because there's a zipper right there, so I can't just directly sew the chiffon onto this pink thing. I need to hand stitch them very carefully, try not to disturb the zipper, so I think this is what I'm going to do tonight. I will level up the hem and finish the back hand stitching. I think, if I do not procrastinate, if everything goes according to plan and I do not procrastinate, I think I will be able to start working on the sleeves tomorrow. After stitching on the collar and the armholes, finally it's hemming time. I have also done these 2 layers of cotton georgettes on my machine, so I just run it down on my machine, because most of them are hidden underneath this layer, so I don't really think it's necessary to do a completely hand-stitched hem on every single layer. And it's actually a lot of hem right here. I mean, it doesn't look like much because it's incredibly thin and flimsy, but if you spread it out, there's gotta be like at least 1 to 1.2 meter on each layer, so I didn't want to spend all that time doing hand stitching. The only layer I'm going to hand stitch is this top layer, because I don't want like an ugly overstitching running through the entire hem on like the top layer. That's not a very princess-ish look, so I'm just going to carefully hand stitch this entire thing, and then finally I can go on to draping the sleeves. This entire Enchanted Gisele operation is quite different from what I usually make, because I do like gowns and I do like these kind of fantasy dresses, but But I don't really make them because I'm a very practical person, and these type of dresses just don't really have a purpose in my life, and I just don't want them existing and taking up more of my closet space, so I rarely make them. But this Gisele thing, this is just one of those, childhood things you always wanted, and now you're finally old enough and you have the proper skills so you can kind of like make it come true for yourself. This is what's happening. I first watched Enchanted when I was about 9 or 10, I think. Before Enchanted, I didn't really feel strongly towards dresses or clothes or anything. Probably because most princess movies I watched were animated, and I don't know, even when I was a kid, I didn't believe in animation. Like, I know it's animated, so of course you can draw whatever you want, however you like it, right? You don't have to make this thing. You don't need to consider about like how the construction goes or what kind of fabric you need to pick out. You can just add as much magic, as much glitter, and as much fantasy stuff you want when you're doing animation, because well, you don't need to make it. So I just thought that real life costumes could just never be as great as the ones you see on screen in movies until I watched Enchanted. When Amy Adams crawled out in her wedding dress, I wasn't completely impressed yet, because that thing looks tiny bit plasticky as well. It's too I don't know, it looks plastic with too much glitter and way too puffy. So I didn't really like that. But then a few minutes later, she walked out in this gorgeous blue dress she made out of Robert's curtains. Wow. You know how people have like celebrity crush? I have celebrity crush as well, and I also have like costume crush. So Gisele was probably the first costume crush I ever had. I just saw the dress and I was like, wow, like I can't believe someone actually made something as beautiful as this. And when I was 9 or 10, I could already sew. I could stitch up things. I mean, I couldn't actually construct an entire garment, but I knew a little bit about sewing and stitching and all those craft stuff. And I did know like how time consuming it is to actually create something. So when Robert saw Gisele walk out in that dress and he was like, wait, where did she get that? I sat in front of the TV and I thought about the exact same thing. I mean, yeah, I know it's a movie, but still, like, how, what kind of witchcraft is this? Like, how can you just like randomly pull out a dress? And then she's like, oh, my animal friends helped me make it. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. When you're 9 or 10, you're kind of in that awkward phase where you kind of know like fairy tales don't come true. But somewhere deep inside your heart, you still kind of hope it comes true. I don't know. Okay, I know it's not making much sense, but that's how I was at that time. So I just thought like, oh, cool. So if you become a princess, you get your like own personal animal sweatshop to pull all-nighters and make dresses for you. That's cool. I want to become a princess as well. And another thing that really attracted me was that, you know how like when Gisele wants to summon her animal slaves, animal friends, she just do this like singing, and then all the animals would just come running. I mean, like the woodland creatures in the forest, and the cockroaches and rats and pigeons in New York City, they just like come to help her when she sings. Well, after watching that movie, I actually did the same. I was always like crafting, and I usually craft in my bedroom. So my parents were like, okay, if you're going to do crafts and stuff, it's going to be messy. So if you want to keep doing this, you need to clean up after yourself, as you know, it's your responsibility. So that was the part I hated the most when I was a kid, cleaning up after I make a complete mess in my bedroom with paints or glue or glitter or whatever. So yeah, so I really hated cleanup. So I was like, oh, okay, so if you sing this melody, you can just summon a bunch of animals to kind of do your bidding. So that was cool. And I started singing in my room like, ah! Well, let's just say the only creatures I successfully summoned were my parents. They just came in and told me to shut up, so oh well. My childhood. So because of the gorgeous real-life costumes and the animal summoning skills Gisele had, she was actually my favorite princess, and Enchanted was actually my favorite movie. So this is really cool, and I'm having a lot of fun making it, making my dream come true. Pretty sure I still won't be able to summon animals to clean my room, but well, now at least I have a dress, right?